Daniel Surankov, Samuel Stendis, Valentin Klus, Dan Zotfi, Daniel Hunt and Summer Webb. We're broadcasting live via the Circuit PA on the video live stream and now on the Downforce radio network. So 26 competitors set to go into battle right now. Again, it will be 7 minutes plus an additional lap. For those at the paddock, if you do want to go to the info unit, Patsy Peters has brought some lovely cakes, which I've just had a slice of one of, and it is first come, first served. So get them whilst they're hot, because they will be going out very, very soon. So, but whilst I stop talking about cake, I've got to concentrate on the racing action here at Karting Genk. So top 10, it's Harnan from Van Dijk, Stemmerdink, Schoenmakers, Heinert, Ginchard, Jenkins, Adam, Christensen and Rudenberg rounding out the top 10. 7 minutes plus a lap here at the 1,360 metre facility. We have had a clean sweep of full 4 clean starts. Will we have number 5 this time around? 7 minutes on the clock, red lights on the gantry. Do we go cleanly away this time? Yes, we do. It's 5 out of 5 heading down into turn 1. So Harnan in pole has got the whole shot. Looks like Van Dijk's been left to hang out to dry. He's now down into third. There's a little clash, I think, with Tom Heinertz now, who's charged his way up into third position. A little clash between the pair going through turn 3. And with them has gone the number 230 of Will Jenkins, who's just been overtaken by not just Danny Van Dijk, but that's the 262 of Oscar Christensen from Denmark with RS Competition. A little bit of squirming under the brakes from Dan Ginchard heading into the approach onto turn number 7. So Ginchard showing in around about 8th position by my count. Meanwhile, the top 4 starting to try and break away, and it is being led still at the moment by the poleman Chris Harnan. And in the meantime, Tom Reinhardt has got past Max Stemmerdink for second position. So nice work by the 237. 4th is Danny Van Dijk, Oscar Christensen, and then Will Jenkins round out the top 5. As we've got more changes around the bottom part of the top 10 heading into turn 2. It's nearly 2 abreast, round about sort of towards the tail end of the field. So Schoenmakers goes down a position into 7th and is ahead of the Brit Dan Ginchard, and who closes up on the back bumper of the Dutch driver going into turn number 8. And with Ginchard is looks to be Tom Adams, I believe, as Van Dijk is trying to steal a march on the driver in third position, well, 4th position at the minute, which is the 230 of Will Jenkins from the United Kingdom. And Schoenmakers has now lost out to Ginchard, who's up into 7th place as Harnan completes another lap. Just over 5 minutes remaining in this second qualifying heat. So Group B will have competed in 2 of the 3 heats, as Danny Van Dijk bumps the curves on the runoff area heading out of turn 2 in front of Oscar Christensen, who's right on the back bumper. With them is Dan Ginchard from the UK, so that is the battle from 4th all the way down to 7th position. And there is a bit of a train a little bit further down the order. Other drivers that have made moves up the order. Dan Zotfi up into 18th place. Valentin Klus up to 22nd. Marlon Coppens up behind Tom Adams. Coppens now in 9th. Adams in 8th position. And Adams is starting to close a little bit on Dan Ginchard as Tom Heinertz is threatening for the lead with 4¼ minutes to go. He's getting a real good turn of momentum behind Chris Harnan and latches onto the back bumper, so to speak, going into turns 1 and 2. But the 237 still has time to mount that assault, as it's getting very spicy a little bit further behind, as Ginchard is being passed up the inside by Oscar Christensen and is forced slightly wide, and Ginchard's lost a further 3 places. Christensen drops 2 in the process, but then Ginchard again recovers to take 1 place back, putting him in effectively 8th place. So Reinhardt is still with Harnan as they exit turn number 9, down into the right-hander at turn 10. And with them is, well, Max Demerdink with CRG is closing on them as well. The melee behind from 4th onwards is getting incredibly intense as the 217 of Tom Adams is going to try and make a move, and he does. That's a great job. I think he's just got past Will Jenkins for position. As Reinert's still threatening Harnan at the minute, as the pair go through turn number 4 into the next left-hander at turn 5, before the right-hand hairpin at turn 6. Now, for those, if we can get an angle shot, they're going to go past a estate car or get close to it, and they nearly overtake it going down into turn 7, and it's 3 abreast. It's 3 abreast nearly going into turn 7 from 4th onwards. That's incredible control. Incredible control by the Junior Max drivers. So at the minute, the running order, top 10, it's Harnan from Reinert's in close proximity, Stemerdink in 3rd. In 4th place at the moment, it is, looks to be the 262 of Oscar Christensen, who's got the 203 going side by side. That's Lukas Schoenmakers. Christensen hung out to dry going through turn 12. He's going to lose out to Schoenmakers. And also the 217 of Tom Adams. Here comes the 244 of Mylan Coppens. Dan Ginchard goes past the Dane as well. It's 3 abreast at turn 3, nearly 4 wide. Ginchard forced to go on the runoff area at no fault of his own. Again loses more places. It's 3 wide in turn 4. Wow! That is incredible. These juniors are really putting on a show. It's getting close to contact. It's 3 abreast nearly, about from, I would say, 8th, maybe 9th position onwards. But the 3 leaders breaking away. Reinert is still looming very large on the back bumper of Chris Harnan for the lead, and whilst they're battling, Max Demerdink in the 209 is still trying to claw back some advantage. Harnan was the quickest of the top 3 last time around. Who's it going to be this time? Oh no, 207's gone wide. That's Bruno Mulders. Bruno Mulders, I think, has gone wide. So pushed wide was the Dutch driver. So just over 60 seconds to go. The lead is still undecided. It is still mano a mano between 2 Dutch drivers. It's a top 4 for the Netherlands at the minute, with Stemerdink in 3rd. Schoenmakers at the last count was in 4th place. So the leader's coming through turn 8. 45 seconds on the clock, and it's fast ticking down in what's been an exciting and action-packed second qualifying heat. So when they cross the start-finish line, which will be round about 25 or so seconds to go. So Harnan continues to lead. Reinert still in 2nd. Stemerdink is closing the gap. And they cross it with 21 on the clock. Ginchard has dropped out of the top 10 now, following the melee that was happening around sort of turns 4 and 5. So leaders still now going through into turn 6 as the time expires now. 7 minutes are up. This is the penultimate lap. So Reinert now has to make a decision. Does he stick in 2nd or does he go for the win? Because Stemerdink is now thinking, I have an opportunity. I might not get 1st, but I could get 2nd. So Harnan leads, Reinert, Stemerdink, Schoenmakers, Coppens, Adams, Christensen, De Klein, Van Dijk and Vendelbo now complete the top 10. Ginchard all the way down in 14th behind Callum Voisin from the UK. As the leaders now get the final lap board. Reinert, will he go for it or will he stick in 2nd? What is Stemerdink going to bring to the top 3 in terms of explosive action? We go through turn 4 for the final time. It is line astern between Chris Harnan, Tom Reinert and now Max Stemerdink. 4th is still Lukas Schoenmakers with Coppens looming large. Behind them they've got Tom Adams for company in the 217. Leaders now coming through. The move's happened! The move's happened! Well done, Tom Reinert. Timed it to perfection at turn 7 and slingshotted past Chris Harnan to take the lead. They come through down towards turn 10. Could it be a drag race to the finish? Because it could be 3 wide. As Stemerdink, well, Harnan gets a little bit sideways going through turn 11. That's allowed Stemerdink to get a bit of a run on him, and he goes up the inside, or tries to. Who's going to get it on the line? Is it going to be Reinert Harnan or Stemmerding, no, Reinert takes it. Reinert takes it with an opportunistic last lap move at turn 7. The 2:37 from the Netherlands takes the win. A little bit further down the order, positions 4 down to 9 were closely contested. But when it was all said and done on the very last lap, I think it is his first Junior Max victory for Tom Reinert from the Netherlands in the sporting the proud colours of GKS Lemons Power. So the Dutch driver in the 2:37 takes the win by 0.058 seconds from Chris Harnon. Max Stemmerdink was there or thereabouts, about 2/10 off the leading duo as they cross the line. Lucas Schoenmakers makes it a clean sweep for Holland in the top 4. The next nationality is Belgian, thanks to Mylan Coppens. Tom Adams, Oscar Christensen round out another couple of nationalities in the top 7, representing the UK and Denmark, with Danny van Dijk, Christian de Klein and Rasmus van der Bo rounding out the top 10. Zen Rudenberg 11th, ahead of Callum Voisin, Bartavit. Dan Ginchard ended up 14th as a result of all the mayhem that was going on around him, with Valentin Klus in 15th. Patrick Snols-Lokmelis ended up 16th, ahead of Jaroslav Zimashka. Dan Zotfi in 18th, ahead of Sam Bergstein, with Bruno Mulders recovering after that off-track excursion at turn 11 a couple of moments ago in 20th. Daniel Sorankov, Summer Webb, Alexander Abskava, Daniel Hunt and Samuel Stendis were the last of the classified 25 runners, with Will Jenkins unfortunately retiring on lap number 6. You thought the volume might have been cranked up to 10. Well, if it was a speaker, it's more than just 11. And the next heats could very well provide that, because it is Senior Max Groups B and C here. 30 drivers. And it's going to start as follows. Emily de Hoys, who unfortunately retired last time out, is on pole position. Alongside will be Sweden's Patrick Grunqvist. Then you got the Brits occupying row 2 with Charlie Turner and Clayton Ravenscroft. Andreas Herbert and Alex Pendlebury complete the top 6, with Arthur Roche from France, James Lowther from the UK, Fabian Bock from Germany, and Christian Kuya from the Netherlands completing the top 10. Henri Young starts in 11th alongside Dylan Nahay, who said he had a pretty bad qualifying earlier on, but he starts from 12th. Georges Bersis, Jason Lockwood, Rick Boothorn, Mansadis, Antoine Antier, Felix Varger, Hayden Cater and Danny Crows rounds out the top 20, with Bram Ossivarda, Anthony Overbeek, Vincent van Kerkhoven, Samuel Harrison, Ben Davis, Pieter Jan Bollen, Alexander Lott, Nick van der Mosselaar, Clementine Benoit and Ken Sang running at the 30 strong. Could a owner of a black VW Polo, which we've mentioned twice, Netherlands plate 39 TTTK, can you please move your vehicle immediately? That's the owner of the black Volkswagen Polo, Netherlands plate 39 TTTX. TK, can you please move your vehicle immediately? Thank you. So, top 10, it's De Hoys and Rundqvist on the front row, followed by Turner and Ravenscroft from the UK. Herbert, Pendlebury, Roche, Lowther, Buck and Kuya. That is the top 10. 7 minutes are on the timer, and the red lights are on the starting gantry. Drivers now being controlled thanks to Emily De Hoys on pole with Patrick Rundqvist from KR Sport alongside. 30 drivers ready to go into battle. 15 rows of Senior Max competitors. Expect this to be another classic with the racing that we've seen over the past day and a half, and I'm sure that over the next few hours it's going to further intensify because points are an offer. They need to get their campaign started in the right way, be consistent, keep out of trouble, and make overtakes when it happens with ruthless, controlled aggression. Do we go green? Yes, we do! And all 30 start screaming their way to turn 1. De Hoys still keeps on to the lead at the minute, heading into turn number 2, as Rundqvist runs onto the runoff area. They can use that on the first lap. Oh, massive pile up at the back. One spinning the wrong way. The other one, I'm trying to think who that was. That looks to be... So one's already started trying to get away from where they were. That was Pieter Jan Bollen, I think, in the 324. Now, unfortunately, out of the race. So one eliminee. There was a GKS coloured cart there as well, as Emily De Hoys now drops down into 4th place. So ahead, it looks to be Rundqvist, I believe, in the front. Ravenscroft and Charlie Turner now rounding out the top 3. But Emily De Hoys is hot on the heels of Charlie Turner, trying to get back that 3rd place. And behind her looks to be Andreas Herbert in the 327. Behind her, Dylan LaHaye up, looks to be in the top 10 now. So good work by the Belgian, also with GKS. Makes up another position quite cleanly into turn number 2. 2 wide, a little bit further down, round about sort of the mid part of the field. So Rundqvist leads from Ravenscroft, Turner, De Hoys, Herbert, Roche, Pendlebury, Bock, Lauber, LaHaye in 10th. Hayden Cater up into 24th. Nick van der Mosselaar up into 21st behind Samuel Harrison. So Rundqvist starting to assert somewhat of a lead as Emily De Hoys is trying to fend off the advances of Andreas Herbert, who's trying to go into the inside line for turn 12. Emily De Hoys has pushed out wide as a result of not just Herbert going past, but also Roche, I believe, so she's dropped another couple of places there. So we've got 5 minutes plus an additional lap to go. Rundqvist leads from Clayton Ravenscroft. Emily De Hoys has been in the trenches. She is now behind Dylan LaHaye, who's now up into 7th position, having started 12th in this race. As there's more overtakes happening from around about 15th backwards. But it is still pretty much even Stevens. 4 minutes and 35, I believe, to go on the clock. So leaders coming through. Ravenscroft looks to have closed the gap on Rundqvist a little bit. Coming out of turn 12. With them still is Charlie Turner from the UK. And Ravenscroft has snatched the advantage away from Rundqvist going through turn 2. So it's a KR Sport 1-2 at the front of the field with Ravenscroft now in the lead, ahead of Patrick Rundqvist from Sweden. Charlie Turner makes it 2 Brits in the top 3 as Dylan LaHaye is getting incredibly aggressive now. And I'm thinking whether that was Andreas Herbert that he was just bumping into from behind, who's now in 4th. Dylan LaHaye now up into 5th position. So I think that Alex Pendlebury will be involved in that mix. He is. He's in 6th position at the moment. So let's just see how that's in. So Emily de Hoy's a little bit further back. She's ahead of the 374 of James Lowther, which puts her around about 9th position as Ravenscroft now has a lead. Charlie Turner, in the meantime, got past Patrick Rundquist on the last corner as Dylan LaHaye goes past Andreas Herbert for 5th. And Alex Pendlebury tries to cheekily push his way past through and is going to go for it on turn 4 and slices across the front bumper very magnanimously there in front of Andreas Herbert. That is now for 5th position for Alex Pendlebury. And there's side by side behind. Wondering who that might be. There's a couple of drivers trying to force the issue going into turn 7. Still 2 abreast at some point in turn number 8 as Emily de Hoy's is dropping down a little bit further. She's at the lower part of the top 10 or just outside it by my reckoning. So Ravenscroft leads from Charlie Turner. It was 0.4 of a second last time around. The gap will be closed down by his fellow compatriot in terms of nationality. And it goes down to just under 0.2, 0.177 between Ravenscroft and Turner for the lead. Rundquist still is within touching distance. Dylan LaHaye, in the meantime, has just done the fastest lap of this race. He's done a 54.794. He was 0.3 quicker than Rundquist, and the gap between them was around about 1.3 seconds on that last lap. So Dylan LaHaye trying to get his head down and try and get some clean air to close up to the 3 in front. There's just under 2 minutes to go in this race, plus 1 additional lap. So Ravenscroft leads Turner in 2nd, Rundquist in 3rd. In 4th place, Dylan LaHaye. Andreas Herbert still in 5th at the minute with Alex Pendlebury behind. Then you've got Kuya ahead of Atul Hosh. Felix Varget now up into 9th place. And whilst the 3 leaders are battling, the gap now to Dylan LaHaye has dropped to a second between him and 3rd place driver Patrick Rundquist. And Dylan LaHaye goes even quicker. He betters his last lap time by around about 1/10 of a second with the fastest lap of the race, 54.684 from the 3:28 from Belgium. So at the moment, top 15, it is Ravenscroft from Turner, Rundquist, LaHaye, Herbert, Pendlebury, Kuya, Varget, Roche, Lowther, Mads Vlies up to 11th, Emily de Hoy's in 12th, ahead of Rick Boothorn, Jason Lockwood and Nick van der Mosselaar rounding out the top 15. So we come to the last 30 or so seconds of this race, with the 3 leaders having crossed the line first. So, changes. Danny Kroos has got past Nick van der Mosselaar to get into the top 10. Hayden Kaser, in the meantime, has dropped down to 27th position, unfortunately. Vincent van Kerkhoffen, Antoine Antier and Kian Sang have also made up positions, as has Bram Ossevaarde. So, the timer has counted down. It's now expired on the 7 minutes, so it's this plus 1 additional lap. Clayton Ravenscroft still leading from Charlie Turner and Patrick Rundquist. But watch out, gentlemen. Here comes the ever-present Dylan LaHaye. He's closed up to the top 3. We've got about just over 1,400 metres to go in this race as Ravenscroft lead over Charlie Turner extends to just over 0.2. Dylan LaHaye again goes faster than anybody. 54.563 from the Belgian. As Emily de Hoy's now drops behind Mads Vlies. She's now in 12th. As Dylan LaHaye is looming very large behind Patrick Rundquist. Can't get the toe going into turn 7, but has about 5 more corners as they go through turn 8 for the final time of asking. Dylan LaHaye is definitely putting the feelers out at this last minute dash to the flag. He nearly went side by side with Rundquist going through turn 9, but he goes up the inside cleanly into turn 10, just the 3:28. Nice work. But Clayton Ravenscroft will come round the final corner first, and he puts the hammer down to cross the finish line and take the win here, ahead of Charlie Turner. Dylan LaHaye started 12th and finished 3rd, ahead of Patrick Rundquist, who was on the front row. Andreas Herbert was ending up a little bit lonelier in terms of 5th position ahead of Felix Varget from Belgium, who stormed his way from around the mid part of the field from lights out 7 or so minutes ago to end up 6th. Christian Kuya and James Lowther rounded out the top 8 ahead of Alex Pendlebury and Mads Ries. Emily de Hoys would finish in 12th position behind Arthur Roche, with Rick Boothorn, Jason Lockwood and Nick van der Mosselaar rounding out the top 15. Ben Davis finished in 16th position ahead of Henri Jung, Danny Kroos, Bram Ossivarde, Alexander Luck, Kian Sang up to 21st at the flag, Fabian Bock down in 22nd ahead of Antoine Antier, Georgios Bersis from Greece, Hayden Cater from the United Kingdom, Vincent van Kerkhoffen, Clementine Benoit, Sam Harrison was the last of the classified finishers as Anthony Overbeek would retire on lap 7 with Pieter Jan Bollen unfortunately not getting past turn number 3 on lap 1. So we go to the first of 2 races today for the DD2 and the DD2 Masters category. The lineup for the first race of the day is as follows. Jan Schwitter from FM Racing, representing Switzerland, is on pole position ahead of Jan Negussens, who was involved in the trenches a little bit yesterday afternoon. David Remy from Sweden and Nadia Nises Livris round out the second row, ahead of Zander Schublak and Lasse Andreasen completing row 3. Madeline Radney and Sebastian de Grand and Carl Klerbort and Steve Bull round out the top 10. Klerbort is on DD2 Masters pole. Marcel Steinert, Timo Haug, Tamsin Germain, Michael Becker, William van der Kaj, Patrick Weinstock, Jamie Billings, Christoph Adams, Christoph Linjen, Daniel Yildiz ran out the top 20 ahead of Wood Colson, Fritz Bernsen, Walt Antonissen, the steering wheel assassin, as I'm going to call him, Roland Kinch, Alexander Derlinger, Conrad Bayer, and Ronald Billings running at the 27 strong. On this particular occasion, as with the micro and mini max categories, it will be 11 minutes plus 1 additional lap. So we now go on to the formation. So they're just being told to slow down. This is the formation lap, so everyone will need to get into 2x2 rolling start formation. So, we've had a full set of clean starts so far. Let's see if we can carry that streak on, because at the moment this is now race number 7. We'll have completed 10 by the next break. So, DD2 and DD2 Masters have 11 minutes plus an additional lap ahead of them. The red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. This is their first of 2 races. Their second one will be at 15:29 local time. So they go into the tram lines. They're being instructed by the race director to slow down. Are we going to get a start here? Yes, we actually do. So that was very well controlled. So it's all single file to around about 8th position. 2 wide a little bit further towards the back end. Conrad Bayer's getting his elbows out. He's getting up. He's now up into 25th, so he might have gotten past Alexander Derlinger there, so nice work by Conrad. And at the front of the field, it is Jan Schwitter, I believe. Yep, that is the case. So the Swiss driver leading at the moment. And I can already see that Zander Schiblak has already made his way past Dionysis Liveris there for what is effectively 4th position. So they come around turn 11, so it's Schwitter from Goossens. 4:55 of David Remy, followed by Zander Schiblak and Dionysis Liveris rounding up the top 5. Then you've got Madeleine Radney, I think, is now in 6th position. Carl Clairbort's up all the way up into 7th now, as Zander Schiblak gets past David Remy through the exit of turn number 2 and makes it stick by turn 3. Other drivers that have made moves up the order: Tamsin Germain and Timo Haug, Michael Becker and Patrick Weinstock now occupy places 11 to 14. Sun continuing to beat down as we now have just under 10 minutes plus an additional lap. There is a clear lead to probably around about the tune of half a second last time around for Jan Schwitter over Jan Negusens, who's now got Schiblak breathing down on his back bumper. And, well, that was a late lunge. Were you trying to do a Daniel Ricciardo there, Zander? Didn't quite work out because he had to back out of it. Meanwhile, at the moment, Madeleine Randy's on the back bumper of countryman David Remy, who's also got, looks like, Liveris in the 4:36 in 4th position. So it's getting very spicy up and down the order. Clairbort's still in the lead in terms of the DD2 Masters classification, ahead of Marcel Steiner, Sebastian Andresen and Sebastian de Grand, as David Remy now gets repassed back by Liveris going into turns 7 and 8. Radney's there waiting in the wings to see if she can pick up the pieces. And behind her, she's got Carl Clairbort in the 5:10, along with Steiner, Andresen, de Grand. Tamsin Germain is not that far adrift of Sebastian de Grand. She's about 7/10 of a second adrift. As Schiblak now gets past Jan Negusens for 2nd place. Liveris is there within striking distance. The drivers from 2nd onwards up to around about, I'm just trying to keep an eye on some of the numbers that are scrolling past. I think we're probably looking at the likes of Steve Bull in the 4:30. So you're looking at from 2nd all the way down to about 13th. who are separated by about 3 seconds at this moment in time, so incredibly close inter-category battling here. As Schwitter's lead now extends to nearly 1 second over Zander Triblack, but Triblack, with the caliber that he is the defending DD2 champion in BNL, so that gap will probably be closing if he goes quicker than Schwitter. And he does, and he closes it down to just over 8.5 tenths. Meanwhile, behind Dionysius Livris, everything is starting to concertina a bit closer together, as Lasse Andresen is trying to get past Madeleine Radney for 6th place. And Goossens has also lost out on a couple of more positions, it looks like, so he's dropped behind Dionysius Livris and now David Remy. So Goossens is now in the clear firing line of both Madeleine Radney and Lasse Andresen from Sweden and Denmark, respectively, as the leaders are coming through turns 10 and 11. Schwitter's lead is being a bit decimated here by Zander Triblack, as we've got 6 minutes and 30 on the clock to go, plus 1 additional lap. That now is 0.68, down from 0.87. So that is another 0.18 of a second that Triblack has taken out of Schwitter and has set the fastest lap in the process. Top 5 in terms of the overall classifications per category. It's Schwitter from Triblack, Livris, Remy and Goossens. In DD2 Masters, it's Clairvaux from Germain, Haug, Weinstock and Becker. Christoph Adams is 6th in the DD2 Masters class at the minute, currently circulating in 18th behind Holland's William van der Kaj. Excuse me. As the gap has now closed again. I think that's probably going to be under half a second, maybe even make that closer to 3 tenths from Schwitter to Triblack. That goes to 4 tenths, 0.4, 1 of a second between first and second. And Zander is closing on Jan all the way through turns 3, 4, now 5. They head to 6. He might get a run on the Swiss driver now because they're going down the long back straight towards turn 7. And he closes up under the braking zone. Whilst Triblack is doing this, he's actually dropping Dionysius Livris, who's in 3rd place at the moment, ahead of David Remy, Jan Goossens, Madeleine Radney and Lasse Andresen. In terms of the overall classification in this race, that's the top 7. 4 minutes and 49 to go. Triblack is in the hot seat and he is absolutely flying. Schwitter, I think, will be coming under close proximity and close scrutiny very shortly as they cross the start-finish line. Gap now 0.162 between first and second, and Triblack again closes up in the braking zone. Takes a wide line turn through turn 3. Is he going to have him on turn 4? No, close. Had to back out of it, did the Belgian. But this is going to allow Dionysius Livris to close up. Then David Remy, then also Jan Goossens, Madeleine Radney and Lasse Andresen. And they probably, if they start battling with them, it's going to bring the next 3 drivers through. As Steve Bull, I think, has just got past Carl Clairvaux for 10th position on the road, which he has done. Nice clean move by the Brit into turn number 7, as Livris is now pressuring Triblack. Triblack now has to think about whether he's going to attack or defend, because he can go for Schwitter, but he might lose out to Dionysius Livris in the process. Schwitter still leads. Top 3 now separated by 3 tenths as the gap extends between Triblack to Schwitter, who's currently leading to about 2 tenths of a second. Livris in 3rd. David Remy closing up. Top 4 separated by 0.865 of a second. And it's a further 4 or so tenths to Jan Goossens. Madeleine Radney still in 6th ahead of Lasse Andresen. Sebastian de Grand now up into 8th ahead of Marcel Steinert, with Steve Bull making it a DD2 clean sweep at the top 10, with Carl Clairvaux still in 11th, but still holds the DD2 Masters class lead. And about 7 tenths away from him is Tamsin Germain from the United Kingdom. So she is hopefully closing, just going to keep an eye on their lap times. Well, Carl Clairvaux had nearly 3 tenths of a second taken out of him by Tamsin Germain. So we'll see how she gets on. Right. Schwitter leads, now 3/10. Oh, here we go, it's happening. There's changes afoot. Shriblack loses out to Liberis as I suspected. That's going to allow the likes of David Remy now to close up. Tamsin Germain now has got Billings, that's Jamie Billings in front. So Tamsin's now lost a bit, has got one person in front of her before she has Carl Klerbalt in sight. So Jamie Billings up into 11th position. Roland Kinch is a retiree, having left us on lap number 7. 2 minutes and 15 to go. So Schwitter has been actually somewhat in the clear, but Dionysius Liberis now in 2nd position, will try to close. The top 7 are, well, last time around were 1.894 seconds adrift of each other. Let's see what the spread is now. 1.868. And through come the leaders into turns 3. Schwitter leading, Liberis, Schurblack, Remy, Gustens, Radney, Andresen, de Grand, Steinert and Bull are the top 10. Patrick Weinstock and Michael Becker have both made it past Timo Haug, their countrymen. So Haug now drops down into 16th. Meanwhile, Christoph Adams has been on a charge. He's up into 17th, up from 20th now. As the lead's gone to Dionysius Liberis, so must have made it through at turn 7 or 8. So the Greek now hits the front of the field ahead of the Swiss ace of Jan Schwitter. Zander Schurblack now on the heels of the 427, but David Remy clearly wants to get stuck in. Schurblack tries to go for that move again on the inside of turn 12. Can't make it work. Schwitter slides in front. Remy now gets an advantage. Latches on towards the back bumper of Zander Schurblack. So Remy's now going to be in striking distance, as is Jan Negusens, and here comes Madeleine Radney in the 4.68. Oh, Schwitter's pushed wide, and he loses out big time. So Remy now up into 2nd, Schurblack now up into 3rd. It's a drag race down to turn 7 between Gustens and Radney. Who's come out on top on that one? I think it is Madeleine Radney that's got past Jan Negusens, but Schwitter got pushed wide. It was 3 abreast. As there's more battling and boring a little bit further down the order, Schwitter was completely compromised, lost the lead, lost 2nd, and then a whole handful of places thereafter. So Liberis gets a clear lead over David Remy. We've got 12 on the clock to go. So effectively, this time will be the provisional last lap. So when they get through into turn, Liberis now will have this and an additional lap to go. Jan Schwitter, in the meantime, has dropped down into 7th place behind Lasse Andreasen. So drama from the Swiss driver, having been pushed when it was 3 abreast. I'm not too sure if there was contact, and if there was, that will be investigated by race control after this race. So 3 abreast going between turns 3 and 4 doesn't work out, as Jan Schwitter just found out, as he's now in 7th. Dionysius Liberis had a 1.1 second advantage over David Remy. Zander Schurblack now being put under fire by Madeleine Radney from Sweden. So the lady is trying to get a chance to get past the current defending champion, but the gap is slightly extended. It's 1 lap to go. Liberis comes through turn 2 for the final time. The gap's closed up between 2nd, 3rd and 4th into the braking zone into turn number 2. Behind them, Lasse Andresen has also got past Jan Negusens, with Jan Schwitter being put under fire by Sebastian de Grand. That's 7th and 8th. Steve Bull up into 9th. Marcel Steiner now hits the top 10, ahead of Carl Klerbot, who leads the DD2 Masters classification. Jamie Billings in 12th, ahead of Tamsin Germain, Patrick Weinstock, Michael Becker, Timo Haug, and Christoph Adams running at the top 17. And as I say that, Dionysius Liberis comes through the right-hander at turn 10 for the final time, flies through turn number 11, and it's going to be quite an easy win now, as he was not caught in the melee that had a casualty in the form of Jan Schwitter. So Liberis wins it, fist pumps the air, ahead of David Remy. Nice work by both Zander Schurblack and the forward-pressing Madeleine Radney, as she got up into 4th at the end of that race. A nicer result for the Swede, having had a bit of a difficult race in final number 2 yesterday. So Dionysius Liberis takes the win here for DD2 and DD2 Masters race number 1 by nearly 1.2 seconds ahead of Sweden's David Remy, with Zander Schurblack making it 3 different nationalities in the top 3 representing Belgium. Then it was Madeleine Radney and Lasse Andresen completing the top 5. Jan Negussen's in 6th, ahead of pole sitter Jan Schwitter, who lost out big time a couple of moments ago going through the the part between turns 4 and 5. Sebastian de Grand, Steve Bull and Marcel Steiner round out the top 10. Winner in DD2, once again, it's the fastest Baker in these parts. It's Carl Clairbault in 11th place ahead of Jamie Billings. Michael Becker and Patrick Weinstock would end up past Tamsin Germain at the flag, with Tamsin rounding out the top 15, so she was 4th in the DD2 Masters classification. Timo Haug was 5th in DD2 Masters, 16th on the road ahead of Christoph Adams, William van der Kaj, Fritz Wernsen, Wout Antonissen, Alexander Derlinger up to 21st ahead of Tanja Yildiz, Christoph Leinen, Conrad Bayer up to 24th at the flag ahead of Ronald Billings, Walt Coulson being the last of the 26 classified finishers, with Roland Kinch, a retiree. Right, now it's time for OK and OK Junior action for the first time on day number 2. Your grid is as follows. On pole position for OK Senior is Thomas Imbo from France. Alongside him will be Rhys Viverhet from Belgium. Alongside him on the front row, Olivier Goethe from Monaco. Alongside, well, it's according to this, it says Lars van Vogt jumped to the top. It's not the case. It's Goethe and Cabby Hall on row 2. Frank Chappal, who won 2 for 2 yesterday, is alongside Alexander Tauscher from Germany. Kobe Pauls and Nicolas Pico ran out row number 4. Tom Uzan and Evo Mallet complete the top 10 ahead of Matthias Salonen. Lars van Vark, who's hopeful of a bit more pace. You've also got the likes of Jan-Peter Fritters, Giuliano Holzom. Well, it looks like Mads Ries is a non-starter this time round. Jules Castro is on pole, ahead of Enzo Peugeot, Daniel Greger, Lois Delbart and Maxime Castellan from Luxembourg in the OK Junior classification. So the time is reset once again for 11 minutes plus one additional lap here at Karting Genk. They go on to the formation lap. Every single category, including our new buddies for 2019 OK and OK Junior. It is a 2x2 rolling start formation. So the timer has been set to 11 minutes plus an additional lap. The red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. We are ready to go lights out for the 8th time today. So over the course of the 2 days on this race weekend, 16 different qualifying sessions and 36 races. That's an incredibly tight schedule, but kudos to Dave Ritson and the organising body behind the BNL Karting Series for getting such a very close but very strict timetable. As the 20 drivers, sans Madris, who will not start this race, being told by the race director to slow and stay in the tram lines. Will we get the engines roaring to life and the lights going out? Yes, we do. And someone was very opportunistic going around the outside and has made up a handful of places and now jumps up into third. Could that have been maybe Alexander Tauscher? I'm not too sure, but... Or could that have been maybe... that could have been Nicolas Pico, who got the jump on a lot of people. As soon as the lights went out, he's allowed to leave the tram lines and made sure of it and just jumped up, somersaulted over several people, well, figuratively speaking, I might add, and has jumped up a handful of places. So Pico was started on row 5. He's now into the top 5 as there's battling a little bit further down the order. Corey Powell's around about 9th position at the minute as they come through turn 11 for the first time. So it is still Imborg leading as they now come round to complete lap number 1, as there's a bit of a battle royale between Lois Delbart and Daniel Greger in OK Junior. So it's Imborg, Vivret and the ever fast charging Nicolas Pico, who started on row number 5 up into 3rd position already. Loris Cabiru and Alexander Tauscher round out the top 5 itself. Oliver Gotha, Frank Chappard, Eva Mallet, Corby Powles and Lars van Vark complete the top 10. Giuliano Holzem completes the top 11. Jules Castro now up into 13th overall and is leading the OK Junior class at the minute. Enzo Peugeot at the moment is at the tail end of the OK Junior class, whilst Maxime Castellan has gone up into 18th, but that puts him 3rd in class. As the leaders now come across to complete another lap here at Karting Genk.
Yildiz or something. It's an old man in Germany. Yes.
Sorry, I was just in a quick conflab with Dave Ritson. We've got a decision to make later on. You'll find out why a bit later, ladies and gentlemen. Podium will be at 5:15 this afternoon as we see some brilliant action here in DD2, well, in OK and OK Junior. We've got likes of, well, Vries Viveret is going for the lead on Thomas Imborg and takes it through turn number 10. Great job by the Belgian, but Nicolas Pico and also the 257 of Loris Cabiru. That's the top 4 at the moment. In OK Junior, Jules Castro is still sitting in 13th at the minute. Nearest competitor to him is Lois Delbart from his countryman. And then Maxime Castellan in 18th from Luxembourg, 3rd in class. Enzo Peugeot from France and Daniel Greger from Germany rounds out the 5 strong in OK Junior. Now, has there been another change? Has someone else dropped a little bit further down the order? I'm just wondering where Nicolas Pico is. I think he's in 2nd. He is. That cheeky little French chappie has just gone from 10th or 9th place up into 2nd. That's really good showing from the 233 who gets past countryman Thomas Imborg, who just so happens to be with him at VDK Racing. who also are, I think, fielding Maxime Fournier-Castellin, who's third in the OK Juniors at the minute, as the OK Seniors form a orderly line at the minute with no overtaking happening going into turns 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the 257 of Loris Cabihul is within striking distance of Thomas Simborg, who's also in close proximity to Nicolas Picot, who's currently second, but Rhys Viveret is leading quite convincingly now, so the French not having it all their own way this afternoon. So Viveret comes through into turn number 12 for another lap. This will put us on to lap number 6. We have 6 minutes and 35 on the clock remaining, so Viveret leads, and his lead is now nearly a second. So whilst the trio behind are battling over position, Alexander Tauscher is starting to catch them, so the German a little bit on the march. He's gone quicker than all three in front of him, so he's done a 52.685. The closest one to him was Thomas Imborg on a 52.694. Pico was the slowest of them, 52.825. But he's having to defend quite sternly on Thomas Imborg. So Picot's got Imborg, Cabihul, and then very soon I think Alexander Tauscher will be alongside them for company. Frank Chappard, in the meantime, currently up in 7th position behind Evan Mallet, and Kobe Powles now has got past Juliano Holzem for 8th place. Tomuzan, also from France, who have 6 drivers in the top 10. Rounds out the top 10 itself. And it's getting a bit closer between Maxime Fournier-Castellin from Luxembourg, who's closing on Lois Delbart, as Jules Castro gets past Juliano Holzem. So Holzem's dropped, as has both Olivier Goethe and Lars van Vark. And there is a driver. Oh, we've got one very much off towards the exit part of turn number 8. So Juliano Holzem could be that driver. So I wonder what's happened. Well, it looks like maybe that Olivier Goethe and Lars van Vark, who admitted that they actually had to fit a new chain because that snapped during qualifying and put him on the back foot, isn't going to take any further parts. So both him and Goethe have parked it. Picot now loses out to Amborg, who jumps up back into second place, but has a tall order ahead because it's still 4.5 minutes and will have to try and close the gap. As I think I've just seen, yes, it's happened. Maxime Fournier-Castellin is trading places, hopefully not rubber on side pods with Lois Delbart. So Fournier-Castellin made the move up the inside on turn 2. Delbart responded in kind and went, well, here you go, here's some of that for you. So Maxime now having to try and fight back. But there is a clear gap between Delbart and Castro, who is up the road by a clear second at the very, very least. So Lars van Vark and Olivier Goethe confirmed as retired. Juliano Holzem, I think, also has retired. So Sector 2 sort of finishes around about turn 9 and 10. So I think he's also retired. Meanwhile, the battle between Pico has now lost out to Loris Cabihul in the meantime. And I think he's got Alexander Tauscher for company. That is very much the case. So the French driver in the 2:33 is going to have his work cut out for him now. Well, Evan Mallet, I think, has just got past Alexander Tauscher. So Evan Mallet now gets up into the top 5. Yeah, Mallet and Chappard have also got past. And Tauscher's quickly under threat from Colby Powles from Belgium, who wants to get up past the top 8. So Tauscher dropping from 5th to 7th position over the last tour, thanks to Evan Mallet and Frank Chappard from BNL Racing. Pico now in... Oh, that has happened. So Pico now down in 5th, I believe. So Viverette leads from Hamburg. Gabby and now Yvon Mallet is in 4th place. So Frank Chapard might end up going past Nicolas Pico very shortly as they head down into turn numbers 1 and 2. So Chapard closes on the back bumper of Pico going through turn 3. Now into turn 4. It was a tighter line from Chapard there, I think, coming out of turn 4. And he sends that up the inside, cleaning on Pico, who goes for the switchback and takes it and powers away, heading down to turn 7. Nice exchange there by the two French drivers. So we've had one non-starter in the form of Mads Lees. Lars van Vark has retired, as has Oliver Goethe. Juliano Holzem. It looks like Jan-Peter Fritters could be another retiree. So that will drop the field down to 16. At the moment, Maxime Fouan-Castellan is trying to close the gap on Jules Castro for the OK Junior top honours. He was nearly a tenth and a half quicker than the Belgian in that last lap. Gap now down to about 0.8 between the pair. They have come to blows this weekend, and hopefully this time it can be even Stevens and firm and fair racing between the pair. And Fouan-Castellan is bringing along with him Francis Enzo Peugeot, who's closing up on the braking zone going into turn number 2. Whilst the OK senior drivers are coming through turn 9. We've got one pulled to the side. That's Corby Powles. Powles is out of the race. That's a real shame for the youngster from Leopoldsburg. So Corby Powles now another driver that has retired. So we have 20 seconds on the clock remaining. Please Viverette continues to lead by some considerable margin over Thomas Imborg from France by about 1.5 seconds. So yeah, that is unfortunate for Corby Powles. Right, so now OK Juniors has to be concentrated on, and all 5 are with each other going through turn 5 and now into turn 6, led by Jules Castro from Belgium. Maxime Fouan-Castellan is ahead, whilst Lois Delbart and Enzo Peugeot and Daniel Greger are battling over 3rd place. Oh no, it's happened again! Maxime Fouan-Castellan hits the barriers hard off of turn 7. Him and Castro came together again. It sent both of them spinning the other way. Out of turn 7, I hope Maxime's okay. He's gone ploughing rear end first into those tyre barriers. So yellow flags at turn 7. Jules Castro walks away. Marshall's now with Maxime Fouan-Castellan off of the barriers at turn 7. Drivers will have to slow. And there's been a 3-second penalty awarded to Nicolas Pico. 3-second penalty for 2 wheels out of the track limits. But that still keeps him ahead of Alexander Tauscher for the minute in terms of the... no, that doesn't. That puts him behind Tom Mouzin in 8th. So Pico gets demoted quite substantially there. Medical team just attending the scene at Maxime Fouan-Castellan. So, with a dramatic end for the OK Junior class at that last, on the penultimate lap, Luis Viverette takes the win in OK Senior by 1.382 seconds over Thomas Imborg. Loris Cabihol, Yvon Mallet, Frank Chapard. Nicolas Pico was classified as 7th, but will finish in 6th, but will finish in 7th behind Alexander Tauscher thanks to the 3-second penalty. Tomuzan, Matthias Salonen then follow the Frenchman. Sandro Holzem. Lois Delbart wins in OK Junior, which came to a dramatic conclusion, with Enzo Peugeot and Daniel Greger rounding out the 13 that finished, with Mads Rees not starting, Jules Castro and Maxime Fouan-Castellan having that altercation into the approach into turn 7 on the penultimate lap. Corby Powles retired 3 laps from the end ahead of Jan-Peter Fritters, whose card is actually on the start-finish straight, I've just noticed. Juliano Holzem, Olivier Goethe, Lars van Vark, whilst medical team just making sure that Maxime Fouhon-Castellin is okay after that heavy hit into the barriers at turn number 7. Just for those listening on the Downforce radio feed, attendance of the ambulance is now at turn 7 with Maxime Fouhon-Castellin. So at the moment we will be providing you with just some normal music in the meantime as we stay silent and get an update hopefully on Maxime very, very soon. I'll be back with you as soon as I know anything further. Thank you.